Hey, how you doing, guys? First of all, I wanted to mention two bits of information very quickly. Don't worry, I'm gonna get into the main topic in hand. But first of all, I actually did not plan to make a video today. If you have been catching up on my community tab page, I advise you to take a look as well there. I constantly update it and talk a lot about different things. And so yes, I was never planning to do a video today. Number two is that I'm going to have a big video out tomorrow. Big, I'm referring to as a heavily edited video, basically. My standards. Again, I'm not a professional editor or whatever not. This is more or less of a hobby of mine. And so I'm very much looking forward for you to see it. The video up will be as well at 2:30 p.m. UK time. Now, you can just simply put it on Google, write that down, 2:30 p.m. UK time, and you will see for your own what time is it going to be for you. Again, I'm going to be premiering that video, so be sure to subscribe to my channel so not to miss the notification. If I would advise you to hitting the bell annotation as well, but again, that's up to you, because I don't really like to ask these things on YouTube, except just saying like and subscribe at the end of every video. Anyway, you know what? Let's just get into the main topic in hand, as I mentioned already. This is regarding, again, the Spider-Man 2 that have been rumors going through, and it's getting a lot of the... it's basically trending at the moment. I'm not too sure why. There's no real legitimate leak or source, more or less, from it, because it's just random. It really is. But the things that they mention here is quite insane, and a lot of details. A little bit too much, to the point it could be very fake. So yes, you have to take this as a grain of salt. This may not come into fruition, and I'm kind of hoping it does not, because I want to be surprised by the story and not to expect to see something like, oh my god, this actually has happened 2 years ago. Mind you, it says that basically they're planning to release this game on a PlayStation 5 on a holiday 2021. That's basically in more than a year. That's insane. But that's also expected due to the fact that Spider-Man on PlayStation 4 came out at the end of 2018. Well, in September. I don't know. That's not really counts as the end of the 2018. And still may be coming in September as well on 2021. We obviously don't know. But that actually would make things out. 3 years for the sequel to come out. That actually would make sense, and I'm very much looking forward to it, because I absolutely love PlayStation 4's version of the Spider-Man. It's amazing. You know, let's get into and talk a lot about this as well. There's actually an article for this. I will read out a few bits of information, bullet points and stuff, so I'll give you my thoughts as well. Now, the game will retain the single-player roots of the first one with no online co-op. The action will shift to Brooklyn and Queens rather than Manhattan. Alright, that's expected. Brooklyn, yes. Queens, yes. Queens, yes. I'm actually a little bit more surprised on Brooklyn than Queens. Queens is obviously where Peter Parker originated from. But Brooklyn is a little bit different story on that part. But still, Manhattan, that's the one that we got an opportunity of seeing. It's pretty awesome to see these kind of a more... It's not cities, states, right? Is that the correct pronunciation or interpretation, right? For America, right? Guys don't really have cities. It's more of a states, if I'm correct. I'm not from America, obviously. Anyway, also it's set in the winter. That's interesting. I would love to see how the winter mechanic will work in the snow. Very interesting. I wonder how Spider-Man will be cold as hell, freezing. Imagine him. Anyway, because he's literally wearing a tight leather. Well, actually, that can warm you up too. So, Spider-Man 2 story allegedly starts approximately 5 to 6 months from where we have left off. I wonder, is it 5 to 6 months after the DLCs ended, or after the main story ended? I presume it might be the main story instead of the DLC. The DLC is actually canon, just so you know, guys. So it's not exactly, you know, going to a different story that never actually happened. So I guess we shall see. Now, the protagonist Peter Parker has shacked up with a lot of interest of MJ, but she's away for the first act of the game. He's left mourning the death of his Aunt May. I did wonder how he kind of got... Well, I know in the game he's basically 23 years old on the PlayStation 4 version of the Spider-Man. And basically, you know, how he kind of got over the fact that Aunt May died. Oh, God. Spoilers, I guess. Spoilers, yeah, right. Well, it's kind of the way he kind of took it easy. Still, maybe perhaps, you know, some time did take, and you know, he mourned over, more time went through, MJ supported him as well, so it kind of makes sense. But to see how he grieves over this is also going to be interesting. I hope it's not going to be forced. I do hope it comes into naturally. Now anyway, in tandem, Oscorp is up to no good again, trying to create a super soldier. Things go awry. Botched DNA cloning spawns a horde of new villains. Among them, we have Harry Osborn, morph into a Venom-like character, while Carnage and Mysterio also make an appearance. Okay, I hope that Carnage is going to be the main, or at least one, if not two, of the main villains in the Spider-Man 2. Because if we have Venom being the main villain, Carnage is much bigger enemy, sort of like, than Venom is, in my personal opinion. Even though we have a better story with Venom than Carnage, because really, in Spider-Man and Carnage, to my knowledge anyway, they're not exactly, you know too much of each other, right? Carnage is, if that depends, of course, how Insomniac would like to go with the story approach. That's really is a subjective thinking on my part. But Venom, yeah, there's, you know, a friend there like Harry, he could be Venom, and you have to fight him, and it's just like you don't want to, but still. Talking about the Venom, they also mentioned that Eddie Brock is also in the game, but with Osborn picking up the mantle as Venom, it's not clear how that dynamic will work. That's indeed the true, because I personally would like to see Eddie Brock being Venom instead of being Harry. Now, like in the original, Miles, Spider-Man's would-be successor, has playable segments. This time around, Insomniac may let players roam the city as Miles, rather than stick to linear set pieces of the first Spider-Man. The leak says players will be able to swap between the characters in certain situations. Okay, so it's not exactly your own choice like you had, like, you know, 3 protagonists that you had with on the Grand Theft Auto 5, and you had a choice of whoever you wanted to go with. But this time it's going to be in certain situations. Okay. Also, I definitely need to mention that the linear approach from the Spider-Man was it was shit. Basically, you play as Mary Jane, and you need to be sneaking around. That was the most weakest part of the Spider-Man whole thing. They should have gotten rid of that completely. But Miles, I like Miles because I think he only had 1 or 2 segments, and that's really it. And I can't exactly recall there were anything memorable either, since I can't remember. Again, guys, it's been a while since I played Spider-Man. Come on. 2 years at this point. Well, almost 2 years. Now, the leaker suggests that Insomniac is reworking the webbed swinging mechanics entirely. There will be 3 distinct modes: realistic, arcade, and hybrid, with varying degrees of the realism. Now this is actually interesting because I want to know how the realistic, arcade, and hybrid will be. Hybrid, perhaps, well, you know what it means, right? Between the two, realistic and arcade. Arcade, I assume, is going to be something closer to what we have on PlayStation 4, because it really is arcade, right? You just hold the R2 button and you push the stick forward. So in fact, you don't need to do that. Spider-Man automatically goes to his direction as long as you hold the R2 button. And that's it. He just swings and he does it all by himself. I call that arcade, personally. Realistic, if you keep holding the R2 button, he will hold on to the web, right? And he will not let go. You have to let go of the R2 button, so you kind of have to be more realistic with the button layout. And I like that. And on top of that, this is going to be on PlayStation 5, and we already know that the PlayStation 5 controller is going to be a lot more special compared to the PlayStation 4, so you're actually going to be able to feel the difference of every web that you shoot out, and so you can feel the vibration. That's going to be pretty epic to experience it. Now, well, they're gone all out on the animation tech this time, so we won't see the same animation as much. More variety, not only as they bring the animations from the PlayStation 4 over the Swing releases. They're adding many more. They have like 2 animators devoted completely and solely to the web release animations throughout the entire development cycle. Okay, that's very nice, because personally, to be honest with you, I kind of got the gist of, for example, every time when you release the web, right, as soon as you go into the second web and you're about to shoot it out, Spider-Man always gets into that kind of a rhythm, and so somewhat predictable. Now, of course, it's not going to be always predictable. There are some certain degree of repetitiveness, but Insomniac did a fantastic job of actually hiding that. Now, if you pay attention, you will spot it, but if you don't, if you're playing the game enjoying for yourself, you will not spot that. But now, if they're making more animations and there are going to be much more variety and differences, Now that's going to be extremely exciting, and the web swinging is going to be even more goddamn addictive. While neither Sony nor Insomniac Games have officially announced the sequel, it's more of a case of when than if. Completely agree. It would be extremely stupid move to do for Sony not to greenlit the sequel for the Spider-Man. Come on, it did super very well, and it's obvious it has to come. Well, anyway, that was all there was to this leak. It's pretty awesome. It does seem like it's going to be an interesting move as well. I'm going to be interested as well finding out how big of a difference compared to the first Spider-Man it will be. Now, a few things that they have already mentioned here, it's already obvious, right? We kind of expected to see some of this stuff. But reworking the web mechanics is kind of interesting as well. Like, for example, I would like them to utilize a little bit more on a suits. Let every individual suit, more individual suits, have different custom, gadgets and stuff like that. Spider-Man did this correctly, but there were still some kind of limitations. But now, the most important part. Speed. I think Spider-Man should be able to web swing much quicker, especially when he's falling down down towards, from the skyscraper as an example, right? And then he's about to swing, so he's going to be full on momentum. And because the momentum is right there, you're going to be able to achieve massive speeds. And because of the PlayStation 5 and the SSD capabilities now, you should not have any excuse saying that there were limitations on the speed that you will be able to achieve as Spider-Man goes. And so, yes, I personally think Insomniac should be able to pull off even faster web swinging. Not necessarily with the speed, but actually with the speed of momentum. That's more important to say. It's nice if, even though Spider-Man is more or less a superhuman, right? Super soldier human, right? Soldier, but still he should be able to swing faster. Now that's gonna be interesting. Due to the fact that PlayStation 4 never could actually, there was some degree because of the limitations of the console, Insomniac had to do a lot of sacrifices and kind of pull out the ideas because the PlayStation 4 was not capable of running few of the things. And that's why they kind of slowed down the speed for the Spider-Man at first when they showed off at the E3. If you guys did not know, but people were saying he seemed very slow the way he was web swinging, and so they changed that, and he actually sped up, so he was much quicker this time around when we got the game in our hands, and it felt fantastic. And to be honest with you, even if he's slow with his web swinging, it still feels fantastic. But now PlayStation 5, there's no excuse, he can be even faster. That's just opinions, we'll have a conversation as well. Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna let you go now. Do stick around for tomorrow. Video will be premiering. Cannot wait for you to see it. It's gonna be exciting. Alright, well then at this, thank you again so much for watching. Like and subscribe. Yeah, say like and subscribe. And anyway, have a good one.